Hello, my name is Ashley Cowton, and this is my presentation over understanding my community better, conducting a sociological inventory. Before I begin, I want to point out that I live in a small community. I have lived here for 8 years, and I have taught here for 12. I'm involved with a lot of things in the community, and I manage the pool in the summer, so I deal with a lot of people in town. So customs and traditions. Nothing evokes a quicker reaction from parents and citizens than the adoption of policies and practices that run counter to their established beliefs. So things that we have in our town that a lot of people go to would be the Ellis County Free Fair, which is at the end of July. There's just a lot of fun and free activities right here in our small community of Ellis. This weekend we have Riverfest. It's down by the Chrysler Park. They bring on a lot of vendors, activities for the kids. There's a car show, food, a street dance. Alumni weekend is every year in May. They have a parade. There's a dance, a golf tournament, class reunions. We have the homecoming parade and crowning, which is a big deal in town. Everybody comes out for the parade, and the crowd for the crowning at the football game is there's always a lot of people. We also have the snowball crowning, which is during basketball season. That doesn't bring in as much of a crowd because it doesn't have the parade. Because we have a small town, a lot of things that happen with the school happen with everybody. Everybody's involved. All of this engages families, community members, and school personnel. Like I said, this is a tight-knit community where most of the school leaders either grew up here or have been here for many years. The community is very resistant to change. Being present in the community, talking to the community members when you see them out and about, and attending supporting events and activities, that's important for the school leaders to build trust with community members. As someone that came in from the outside to this small town where a lot of the people grew up here, there's a lot of people in the school that graduated from Ellis. It did take a little bit of time to really feel accepted in the community, and quite a bit of work on my part. So population characteristics. As of 2022, Ellis had a population of 2,117 with a poverty rate of 12.8%. Educational attainment, there's people that have 4-year degrees, technical college degrees, and many that went straight from high school to the workforce. The median age is 34.7. There are a lot of senior citizens in the community, and that you'll see that comes into play later with the resistance to change. For gender in this town, we do have, at school, we have more male students than female. As far as gender equity and all of the things that are happening now, we have one junior high student that identifies as a they. Everybody else sticks with their biological gender roles in school, and we have 2 lesbian couples in towns. The main occupations here in Ellis are the school, the nursing home, and there is a place that builds wheelchair parts. Those are the largest places for jobs. So for race, Ellis is 91.1% white, 3.78% of white Hispanic. 2+ races is 3.16%, and for Asian we have 0.992%. I believe that those kids were also adopted by white families. For religions, the main ones are Catholics, Baptists, Methodists, and non-denominational, and there are a few non-practicing families. We have no non-English speaking homes. I do know a family that the mother and father can speak Hungarian, but the children cannot, and the nationality here in Ellis is American. So for communication and channels in town, of course, public opinion is developed through the exchange of ideas and information. For our community, the channels that are available, The main one would be social media, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and probably word of mouth. There are broadcast media options such as the radio and the newspaper. Like I said, social media is probably the main one. It's the easiest way to get information out, and the most people will see it. The newspaper, there's a lot of people that do not pay for the newspaper anymore. It only comes out once a week, so not everybody gets it. Problems with the radio is that it's costly, and a lot of people just don't listen to the radio anymore because they have their phones that they listen to their music on that or their audiobooks. So most effective would be social media. The school also has ThrillShare, so if we need to send text messages out to parents and students, we can do that. Communication channels are a way to strengthen the student learning by getting the parents involved and making sure they know what's going on. And it is also a great way to advocate for the needs of the school and the community. I think sharing pictures and stories on Facebook is great for that. So community groups. Here in town, we have a big one is the PTO, the Parent Teacher Organization. This is for the grade school only. They do an amazing job at raising funds for the betterment of the school. They advocate for the school's needs. They're really good about taking care of the teachers. When your teachers are taken care of, your students are taken care of. They are just a wonderful group of people, and they do a lot for our school, which in turn actually does a lot for our community. The Booster Club, it's similar to the PTO. It's at the high school. It's for the sports parents. Everything that they raise, it usually goes to the extracurricular activities like your sports, your forensics, your music, outside of school things. So we have the site council. So those are members of both. So we have a grade school that's pre-K through 6, and then we have a junior high school, which is 7 through 12. So members of each of those schools and the community members, we work together towards the betterment of the schools. You'll notice that the community members that are involved with this are influential in the community. Church groups are actually a big thing in my community. It's really important to know those schedules, because it's important not to schedule activities Wednesday nights or Sundays, because that really upsets a lot of people. Another community group is 4-H. It's not nearly as dominant of a group. There are a good amount of kids involved in it, but you'll see that they are more active during the summer. We have the Chamber of Commerce here in town. They work together to try to bring more people into town. What can we do to entice people to come visit our town? We also have a fair board, which is for that Ellis Junior Free Fair here in town. And they raise funds to put on the free fair. And you'll see that they are a very influential group of people. Most of these people have a lot of money, so they have a lot of clout in the town. So the community groups, they promote the current and future success and well-being of every student and adult involved. So leadership, to find leadership in a community, you have to have the influencing agent and the group that's being influenced, and most of the time that's your public. Community leaders usually have characteristics in common, such as easy accessibility, wide acquaintanceship, contact with information sources outside their immediate circle, special competence in dealing with a certain matter. For myself, I feel like I meet all of those, especially with my job at the pool. So I'm hoping being a manager at the pool will give me some experience that I need to move into a leadership job at a school. So individuals who are recognized leaders in this community, or organizations who have an influence on the attitudes and opinions of members, our Ellis Chamber of Commerce. They work to do a lot of great things. They have a strong Facebook presence. Our school board, I would say our school board is probably the highest, because in this town, we realize that without the school, we're not going to have a town. Sometimes it's a problem because school board members get on the board and they have their own agenda, and then all havoc happens. But we also have a mayor and a city manager. So the city manager works at the city office every day, and she manages everything. The mayor is not there every day. He's in and out. And then our city council members, they meet every other Monday. Business leaders in town, and then a big one is families that have money in this town. Last names will get you a long way. The two largest church groups in town are the Baptist and the Catholic churches. So economic conditions. So the town employs 1,030 people as of 2022. Before, you'll see that this is significantly less than our town population. A lot of people that live here in Ellis, they commute to Hayes to work, as it's only maybe a 15-minute drive. We have a 12.8% poverty rate. It is cheaper to live in Ellis than it is to live in Hayes. So we do see a lot of low-income families. Median household income as of 2022 is $65,682. Median property value as of 2022 is $125,000. I would imagine that that's gone up. Look, the local economic conditions. What have we had that were failures and successes, and the public's attitude towards the financing of public education? Lately, we have not had any major businesses closes, and we have also, at the flip side, we've had no new employment opportunities. Even though new business would mean more people brought into town and hopefully more students. Like I said, our public is very resistant to any sort of change. We have been trying for a very long time to pass a bond. We really need some updated sports facilities. We can no longer hold track meets here. Our track has completely fallen apart. Our football field is in rough shape. Our old high school should probably be condemned, where we hold a lot of events. However, all of the older people in the community say, well, it was good enough for me 50 years ago. It should be good enough for these kids too. The same thing happened whenever we got a new pool. We got $1 million grant from the state. This was right before COVID hit. Our pool was falling apart. We were at the point where we were either going to have to close the pool down completely or rebuild. Even with that $1 million, and knowing that taxes would not go up, it was a battle, because a lot of the elderly people in the community kept saying, well, the pool was good enough for me when I was little. So that, I think, is just a huge problem in this community. Luckily, we did get the new pool passed, and the bond, we structured it to where it was just academics. There was no sports stuff on it, and so it passed also. Political structure, who makes the political decisions. So our local system of government here in town would consist of our mayor and the city council. They meet twice a week. If you want to run for city council, you have to apply earlier in the year to be put on the ballot. And then school board and superintendent. Like I said, they have a lot of sway with how things go. And then this advocates for the needs of the school and the community. So social tensions. So especially in a small town, you have to be fully aware of the cause of tension and the level of discord among groups in the community. Because in a small town, that tension or them being upset is going to carry like wildfire. So a big one is the Baptist Church. They are loud in a lot of their things that they're upset with. One I've really noticed an uptick lately is our Facebook warriors that are always quick to comment negative comments on everything, but they'll never talk about it in person. We do have the thumbs up, thumbs down section in the newspaper. I don't understand why they put that in there, because it just causes all sorts of problems. Another one, we have a very small Catholic grade school here in town. It's only grades pre-K through 6. That creates some tension. And another big problem in this town is the school has a tendency to cater to parents regardless of whether it's right or wrong, the situation calls for it or not. So parents, they get really angry when they don't get what they want. And I think that creates issues. So previous community election efforts, I talked about our previous bond election, how it failed whenever we tried to put the sports things on there. We got it passed. Our grade school is getting new flooring and central heating and air. The high school, they're getting a new entryway and new science rooms. New recreational facilities. We got a new swimming pool. I was a big part of that and working with council members and talking with people in the community and advocating, please go to the city council members and talk to them. Let's get this passed. And so it was passed after a battle. The council meeting that night, it was standing room only. There were people in the hallway. So it was interesting. At our fairgrounds, the Sunflower Arena was just passed by the Fair Board. They raised enough funds to be able to build that, a place to have dances. And then our community as a whole is working towards new housing. We need new housing to bring families in for that, and that would help both the school and the community. So all of this, it engages families, community members, and school personnel. It supports the school improvement. Those improvements strengthen the student learning, advocate for the needs of the school and the community, and it promotes the current and future success and well-being of every student and adult involved. So the power structure, who has the ability and authority to control others? Power comes from involvement and influence. So who works behind the curtain? Our school board at our school and our community, it's huge. They do a lot. Same way with our superintendent. The PTO, like I said, they talk or they do a lot of wonderful things. The Alumni Association, they do a lot of great things in this community. They provide money for a lot of grants. They provide scholarships. However, because so many people grew up in this town and graduated, and a lot of things are biased towards last names with that. The city manager or clerk, which I spoke of earlier, she has a lot of sway and power. And then, like I've said a couple of times, when you live in a small town, your last name, it can mean power. So the power, it advocates for the needs of their school and community. Power is great as long as it's being used correctly. Multicultural issues, leaders, they have to understand the needs of the cultural communities to understand what benefits they can bring to the school. Weaving the culture into the school. We don't really have any cultural differences, so there's nothing to display, written material, menus, holidays, customs, or anything like that. It is not currently an issue. For the school dress code and our mission statements and anything with our policies, as long as you follow the rules of the dress code, the length, no bad words or drugs or alcohol, and the shoulder width is correct, you can wear what you want. And then there's nothing in policies that addresses cultural differences. Back to the dress code, one thing I thought of is we don't allow the kids to put their hoodies up or to wear hats. So if we had any religions that needed to wear that is something we would need to address in the future. So public opinion in this town, how do you tell what people think and how they feel about the school system? Again, Facebook, social media, you're going to learn a lot on Facebook. We have sent out surveys. Another good way is just word of mouth, because you walk to the grocery store and you're going to run into somebody and you're going to spend 20 minutes standing in the grocery store talking to them, or you'll see them out on the street or at the pool, or you see people everywhere and you stop and talk for a long time. So what should be done to increase the public understanding, support, and participation in the schools? I'd really like to see more opportunities to have more volunteers in the school and different volunteers outside of parents. Every time we do a watchdog program where it's dads of great students, they come in for a day and they volunteer all over. And every time they leave, they always say they have a better understanding of it, they appreciate everything more, and you'll see them come back and advocate for the school. I'd also, to increase public understanding, is better communication between the administrators and teachers along with the parents. What changes are coming, what's happening, make sure that gets communicated to parents. Weakness to strength, which slide had the fewest bullets and why? The previous community efforts had very few bullets because, like I said, we're resistant to change. They don't want to bring anything new in, it scares them. And how could you turn these weaknesses into strengths? First, like we did with the pool and the bond, you need to find people that are willing to advocate for positive change. I was on both the bond committee and I was one of the heads with the pool stuff, and it was a lot of footwork. And another thing that we did is that we got people that were resistant involved. Some of the loudest people with the pool, we brought them up and showed them that it was crumbling and that we're not going to be able to keep it if we don't get a new one. This strengthens student learning. Change is a good thing. Support school improvement. Advocate for the needs of their school and community. Future concerns. So potential concerns, issues, or things that we need to be planning for is our lack of cultural diversity, because we are not prepared for ELL students or non-English speaking families. What could we do in our district to prepare ourselves for this type of future? We would need professional development for teachers. How do we teach these kids if they are struggling with English? Ellis works with the 489 cooperative. So we would definitely need to talk to them to know what resources are available. We need to ensure that we have a way to translate effectively. That's big. And then when families come, I think it would be super fun to allow them to share their holidays with just classroom celebrations. It would also be a great way for the classroom students to get to know the new student in their classroom. Here is my first page of references. And the next one. Okay, for my correlation, it's important for administrators and educators alike to engage with the community and its members. By engaging with families, the community, and school personnel, students learning, it will be strengthened, the school will be improved, and you as a leader will be able to advocate for your school, its members, and your community. Working together, everyone will achieve more. So one thing I want to say about this is I grew up just down interstate from here. I went to high school at Quinter, Kansas. The community there was awesome. They were so supportive of the school and the students. If you went to any game, the stands were always packed. Even at track meets, people were always supporting the students. People other than family members went to the school plays and the school concerts. And so it was great. They just passed a bond and they only advertised it for like 2 weeks, and it was a lot of money. I would love to see our community here in Ellis be able to turn to something like that. Man, it would take a lot of work, but it would be so good for the whole town. Relevancy. This assignment was relevant to my learning because as a future school leader, the community will look towards me as the face of the school. I will need to ensure that each student's needs are being met by ensuring that their culture is brought into the classroom so that they feel welcome. I also can't make improvements unless I'm able to communicate with teachers, families, and community members about what makes them unhappy and their ideas for improvement. I always think a great leader is somebody that can listen and not just listen, but really implement other people's ideas, because one leader doesn't have all the answers. This assignment improved my understanding of promoting community engagement by helping me see how important that is, especially in larger communities. And that is one thing I was thinking when I was reading the articles. A lot of this in my community, the relationships, they come naturally because it's so small. But I do think that in a larger community, a school leader would really have to work for that. If I ever work in a larger community, I need to understand that I will have to work to get the engagement from staff, families, and community members. My reflection, I do think I'm fortunate to live in a small community where everybody knows each other. I don't foresee myself ever moving to a city. I want to raise my kids in a small town. When you see people anywhere in this town, it's normal to stand and talk with them. As a teacher, I spend a lot of time talking with parents when I see them out and about in our small town. Our district is blessed with parents that want to volunteer and be involved. Our community also understands that without the school, this town will cease to exist, and all of these things make engagement much easier. It did make me realize once again that life in a city is much different than our small town way of living. I do need to be prepared with the steps I'm going to need to take to involve the community and families and aspects of the school, as well as making sure everyone feels welcome and accepted. All of those things will make me not only a better educator, but also a better leader. Thank you.